Let us begin. Welcome everyone to this Modernize track. I hope you have been having great time in Data and AI Forum, right?
Yeah.
Have you been learning a lot and hearing new technologies?
Knew a lot of unknown terminologies.
Okay. So, but we all, come from a world where we already have something in our environments. Okay, that's why Modernize is very important. We are not, going to rip everything and buy everything new to get hold of these new technologies. That's why Modernize is very, very important. Whatever you have in your IT environments, I'm sure you're going to, after seeing my presentation, you're going to see the roadmap that how you can go from that point A to the point B where you want to go to the more new AI multi-cloud world. That's my objective. Okay, so to tell you that how you can move from point A, wherever you are right now, to the modernized IT stack. So let me begin with my introduction. My name is Karan, and I lead IBM's modern data and AI platform, Cloud Pak for Data. I think you would have heard a lot about Cloud Paks during keynote sessions.
Yeah.
Yeah? So I'm going to go deeper into that. Let's begin. I always like to start with use cases. So your money, the funding or the budgets lies with the business, always. And the use cases are something which you can use to align with them. Then I'm going to cover some challenges which you face in your environment. Then the solution, Cloud Pak for Data. Lastly, I want to keep it more open as well. There are some offers which you can take back to your business and position. And we'll have some question answer session as well, and we'll be interactive. By the way, feel free to stop me anywhere. Just raise your hand and stop me to ask any question. So I want to start with the good news. Indonesia is leading with the AI adoption. The word is AI adoption. Okay, they are leading with the AI adoption. So big applause for that. So adoption is one thing. Only 1 in 7 Indonesian companies use AI. It seems weird, right? So we just saw that we are leading. Now, only 1 in 7 companies. There is a reason for that. Okay, so companies who are good in technology by history are using a lot of AI. Okay, I would say that I would put digital companies like Gojeks of the world in that category. Even the big companies like telecom cells of the world, they have been pioneers. But businesses like yourself, okay, who are from companies who are middle companies or are in the higher end of the big companies, lower end of the big companies, are not being able to adopt for 3 reasons. One, data. You might have data, plenty of it. How to access it? Talent. Okay, so AI skills are rare. Data scientists are very rare. So at IBM, our mission is to democratize the technology so that you guys all can become a citizen data scientist and can work with data. Lastly, trust. People are skeptical about AI technologies. There is one more challenge in the bottom of this, which in my opinion is the biggest challenge. Still stuck in experimentations. How many of you have been doing some data science project and are in experiment only? 1, 2, 3, 4. Around 10% of the room. So you will figure out that when you do the experiment, when you have to take it to business, there are different kind of challenges which will emerge, which I'm going to cover in my presentation today. That as well. Use cases. Let me begin with the importance of this AI technology, right? So 86% of CEOs believe that AI and data science is the number 1 priority for them. And they want to make it number 1 priority. It's for everything they do in their business. I like to think in the way of customer journeys. how do you start a customer journey? You target the customer first using marketing, okay, using acquisition strategies. Then you support the customer, okay, maybe by call center or by providing a support mechanism. Then you try to optimize your business for costs, say HR optimization, supply chain optimization. Lastly, you try to manage risk. Is it safe to work with this customer? Okay, is my customer safe with the environment I am in? Okay, so it's all journey. You can figure out where do you want to infuse AI first. Do you want to begin from the customer acquisition? By the way, that's where majority of our non-financial services customer work. Okay, marketing use cases, creating hyper personalization, recommendation engine using AI, and our financial services customer are on this side. Okay, more on risk. They also go on that side as well, but they begin usually from here. So you have to figure it out where do you want to start, where you can add maximum value to your business. I'm going to go and show you 3 more customer success stories in my presentation, which will be highlighting these use cases. Okay. Before I go there, how many of you are from telcos? None. Okay, one. Three. Good, good. And financial services? Manufacturing? Okay. So I have covered almost everything. Okay, so I'll show you. Sprint. This is the largest telco in US, North America. The challenge they faced was that how can I enhance my customer experience? The customer support engineers were turning out at the wrong places with the wrong equipments for replacements. That's a big challenge. Supporting 100 million customers with these kind of equipments and matching them with the right requirement is a big challenge. So they used AI and ML to build a model and match these requirements proactively with these customers that they can be having these issues. Data accessibility is key in this. So later I'm going to show you that, and in fact we will, in other tracks we are going to do some demos as well on the whole platform. And after my presentation, there is a presentation on data virtualization. So accessing the data is key for them. Okay, they increased around 5x faster data access by using Cloud Pak for data. Okay, there is something called data virtualization, which is part of the platform, where you don't copy the data, but you can access the data. So they did use that, and on top of that, they implemented AI and ML models. Second use case is from manufacturing. Intel, we all know that they are a chip manufacturer. They optimize their costs using AI and ML models on Cloud Pak for data platform. Again, accessing this IoT data, this machinery data, this big data, which is originated from machines, is key here. So you need to have a platform which can store this data. Okay, so later I'm going to show you that we have something called DB to event store, where you can store the data. Plus, blend this data with other systems like other databases you have. Then create an ML model on it. And you can create this ML model. If you have a data scientist, very good. If you don't have, we have something called Auto AI, part of the platform, where you just feed in the data, it will select the models automatically and give you the predictive model for you to implement and give you an endpoint API. Very simple for you to work. So they deployed that. The third example, so it is Standard Chartered Bank. This is the local one from our own backyard. Okay. They have been using AI and ML to mitigate risk. Okay. They developed an AI trade engine to mitigate the risk which they are facing. So you see that I first 2 slides I covered customer experience, then I covered supply chain optimization. The last use case is risk. If you are from a banking, you will have those risk models, okay, which you might use to access the risk profile of the customers or the loans they take, or the business to business activities which you do with other businesses. You would have built those models. So you can build those models using AI as well, enhance those models. So that's what we have been doing with Standard Chartered Bank. So this is kind of a framework and a maturity curve for you to see where are you in this journey. Are you using analytics only for operational systems? Say you are using for a dashboard, you have a Cognos dashboard, or you have a Tableau dashboard, and you are just getting a one single view, which is descriptive analytics. Okay. The second is maybe you're having a data warehouse where you are able to ingest near real-time data and do slicing and dicing, and maybe do some kind of analysis as well on top of that data, diagnostic analytics. This is where the magic happens, digital transformation. Data, you apply data science, you apply machine learning, advanced AI techniques to get patterns out of data and find insights. And how do you find these insights? How fast you find these insights is the key. Okay, if you are finding insights which are say 7 days old, and you are in a business where business has to take decisions immediately so that they can optimize their business, right? Say for example, if you're a retailer, you have to optimize the inventory based on the demographics. If you are giving them a 1 week old insights, the opportunity window will go away. Okay, so that's advanced analytics. You have to infuse AI in all your processes. Think of it, from marketing processes, HR processes, or workflows, finance processes. So all these workflows and risk processes as well, all these workflows can be enhanced using AI models and ML models. So that's where the digital transformation happens. So on this, you can see that there is a value on the y-axis, there is a data on x-axis. The usage of data goes high as you move from operational analytics to advanced analytics and infuse AI. Data is what fuels advanced analytics and infuse AI. So what is holding you back from moving to advanced analytics? One is culture. AI and analytics require a culture of fail fast, experimentation. You should be open to experiment. Okay, but you have to make intelligent experiments. You have to find out that this is the highest impact area in my business, where if I develop AI model, I can impact, like marketing, risk, or finance. But experimentation culture has to be there and fail fast. And I'm going to show you that how this platform helps you bring that culture in your organization. Okay, how that it gives you collaborative experimentation power. The second challenge which you have is whatever IT stack you have right now, how is the architecture of it? Are they monolithic? Are they tightly coupled? Is the compute and storage cannot move independently? Okay, say you are storing the data in Oracle RDBMS. In the same system you are using compute. How well can you scale that architecture to the modern AI era? That's a challenge. Okay. The third challenge, there is a purpose that this is the last challenge, okay? Technology. I'm a technology person, I'm selling you technology, I should be keeping this at the top, right? But this is the least amount of concern. Okay, technology is, you have to use open by design technology so that you're not stuck with one vendor. Our whole platform is based on Kubernetes, okay, and open source data science languages like R, Python, Apache Spark, frameworks. So all is open. So technology has to be an open stack. Today, if you are using the system on your own premise, in your private cloud, in your on-premise, tomorrow you want to take this system to on any cloud. The system should give you freedom to do that. So containerization. That's the technology we use so that you have a freedom to move into any cloud in future. Wherever we have a data center here, right? So that you don't have to rewrite the applications. So this is the platform. Brace yourself. Okay, this is the platform which I was talking about. Let's begin from the top. Okay, cloud pack for data. It says cloud pack for data. Let me demystify for you. It's an on-premise software. It's an on-premise software. It's a packaged software. It's containerized to meet your all data and AI requirements. It can ingest big data, store big data for you, okay, then bring AI and data science models on it. If you have a data scientist and you aspire to be a citizen data scientist, it will help you build the model. Okay. Next step. Usually, we have seen that business user is the first person who will give you or get convinced by your idea and give you the funding. And the data science team, if you happen to acquire one, will stay under the business users. Okay. Then we have your traditional data management team, the team who's handling the data warehouse. Okay. Lastly, you have some enterprise architects. So all these guys have to have one single platform where they can collaborate, exchange ideas, and build models, and then rectify those models and improve those models in an intuitive way. How many of you in this room are from any of these teams? So rest of them are not from any of these teams, is it?
Actually, I'm an IT service desk, so I'm not those guys.
Okay. So you are a kind of business user, let me tell you that.
Okay.
Okay. Who else? Nobody in this room from data management teams? Oh, now hands are going up. Great. So I was, thinking that I am speaking to the wrong audience. Thank you. So this is really important. Okay. Now, once you have figured out the use case and the impact area in your business, you have to take care of data. Data is the first step in an AI journey. You need to have capabilities to ingest real-time data, not latent data, not data with latency. Okay. So we have capabilities to do that using our Streams platform, IBM Streams, which is part of the platform. We can also do that using open source concepts like Kafka. We can bring in and do that real-time data analysis. Data discovery. Where is your data? Do you know all the repositories in your organization? Are you able to discover them, profile them, and work on them, and catalog them automatically? So we have infused AI into this process also. We can automatically categorize your data into categories and create a catalog for you. We call it What's a Knowledge Catalog. So I'm going to show that in next slide. The third is data governance. Are you able to do metadata management, data lineage, data provenance? Okay. When you have a use case of AI, say you have a use case of giving a credit line to customers. Okay, you are a banking customer and you have a credit line for your customers, and you have built an ML model for that, and you have rejected one credit line for a customer. The ML model has rejected. You have not rejected. Your ML model has rejected. When your boss or the regulator comes and asks you, how did you do that? Are you able to show them that yes, this was the data which was used for that, these were the factors which were going to that ML model? Can you explain that? That's where data governance is very important. Platform gives you, once you have ingested the data, platform gives you capabilities to build the model, then run the model and deploy in production. Most challenging part, how do you deploy in the production? As you deploy in the production, you will learn that ML models have a drift. As you feed in more data, the prediction capabilities or the performance of the models will go down. So this platform can automatically rerun the model and make it more good performance oriented. We can automate this data ingestion part, model build part, and manage part using Auto AI, which is part of the platform. Okay, so it gives you both capabilities. You can build the model yourself also, you can use Auto AI as well. Lastly, explain the models. We have something called OpenScale as part of the platform, which helps you detect bias in the models for say a particular set of data and explain the data and explain the models. All this is available on Red Hat OpenShift. This is containerization platform. This is which gives you power to move from one platform to second platform without rewriting the code, without recoding. Any of you using OpenShift? Okay.
I know the technology, but not using the OpenShift. I know OpenShift.
Okay, great. So OpenShift is a great technology to do containerization. Then build portable apps, okay, which you can move from one cloud to another cloud. This also gives you DevOps capabilities also because it's all containerized and it's cloud native.
Is it possible that we run this kind of ecosystem up on the other platform of containerization, say the other competitor of the OpenShift?
Okay, so the question is that who you are going to help me? The question is that is it possible to run this platform on the competition of OpenShift? That means containerization platform, other containerization platforms. So it's open source. It's based on Kubernetes. If customer is using Kubernetes, we can run on it. Okay, but Anup, you want to add something?
We are mostly certified on OpenShift platform. So, that's the recommendation of,
Don't go in a circle. It's a simple answer, very simple answer. It is certified on Red Hat OpenShift. It's not certified on any other containers as yet. So let's be very clear about it. That our offering is on Red Hat OpenShift.
And it's no surprise, right? I mean, we've just recently acquired Red Hat, and Red Hat is making they're also their OpenShift platform, is fairly advanced, and they have also come up with OpenShift 4.x right now, which is a built-in platform in CentOS. So CentOS operating system already has Kubernetes built into it. So given that it's a fairly advanced Kubernetes solution, we've standardized on OpenShift for now.
Okay, so are you using any other vendors?
Yeah, we already bought last year.
What did you buy?
It's Pivotal.
Pivotal.
Yeah.
Okay. I think my answer would be that if Pivotal is open, they are using Kubernetes, okay, and they are using Dockers, we should be running with that. Okay. If it is not open, it's a closed system, they have invented their own technology, then the answer is that no, we have to look at it with that. Okay. So that was a good question. So I was here. Over here, I have mentioned 4 Rs. So this all stack is available as a system appliance as well. So there is a software as well. Whole thing, Cloud Pak for Data software and Cloud Pak for Data system, which lets you get up and running within 4 hours. It's already pre-installed with all the software stack which I have mentioned. Now let us see how does IBM name them. It's an IBM offerings. Whatever I have explained in the previous slide around that this is the stack. How do you ingest real-time data? How do you govern the data? These are the offerings of IBM. So on the bottom of it, the bottom line is Cloud Pak for Data. That's the offering name. Within Cloud Pak for Data, we have something called data virtualization, which we are going to go more deeper in next session by Sampada. So she's going to take a deeper look into data virtualization technology, what it is, what are the capabilities, how can you use in your organization. Then we have streams to do real-time data ingestion. Then we have event store to store unstructured data, machine-generated unstructured data. Okay, IoT data types. What's a knowledge catalog? To catalog the data, which I mentioned that we use AI and ML to categorize the data and catalog it. Watson Studio, which will give you capabilities to build the ML model and AI model and data science models. It also have Auto AI, where you can automatically build the model and deploy, and then can manage it automatically. Then we have Apache Spark, which is inbuilt into this Watson Studio. This basically means that it's all based on open source. All based on open source, right? Tomorrow you don't want to use IBM, you can just get rid of it and start using Apache Spark. Of course, the support is another issue. You will still need IBM to support this stuff. Watson OpenScale, to get trust and transparency in your models. To make sure that your model is not biased towards one particular data set or one particular demographics. And explain the models to your business. That's what OpenScale. So all this is part of Cloud Pak for Data. On top of this, we have some ready-made Watson applications. Like you said, you are an IT help desk. So we have Watson Assistant application to run in the these contact centers and help you deliver better customer experience. Okay, these are the applications which are already inbuilt outside the platform. We have Watson Assistant, we have Watson Discovery, and other Watson API services as part of this add-ons. All this is based on open source. At the bottom layer you can see Kubernetes and Dockers. Then we have Jupyter notebooks, Zeppelin notebooks, R language, Python language, Apache Spark, TensorFlow. All that it's built on open source, and all that IBM supports for you. So it gives you capabilities to modernize the whole analytics platform for you. Right from storing the data, collection of the data, organization of the data, analyzing of the data, and infusing AI into those applications. Now that's the system. We are going to have a detailed session on this also. Okay, Suresh is going to cover this. So this is a system which combines hardware plus the software which I covered over here. You're going to get more details about the hardware configurations in the Suresh session, which is going to be, I think, second or third session after this. Now, the idea is very good. How do I start? IBM has a team of data scientists called DSE, Data Science Elite Team. These are the data scientists who are willing to help you in your use cases implementation. Provided that you also have a equal, just to go after use cases. So you should have, prioritized some use cases. That this is the use case, this is the business area I want to go after. Then our DSE team will help and help you build models. It's around 6 to 8 weeks engagement. We start with the business first. Okay, we envision the use cases. We build the business plan with you. Do some business workshops, and then we do planning. We draw out architecture, data architecture, design architecture. We map all the data repositories in that exercise. Then we jump into build and stabilize. We build the model for you and help you build the model. Okay, AI or ML model. In the model building process, feature engineering is very important. So we do that for you. And we also create some visualizations also so that your business can take a view on that. Last step and last 1 week, we help you operationalize this so that you can take over. Okay, and you can build more models. And you can manage this going forward. So it's a 6 to 8 weeks pilot. This is IBM co-innovation with you on Cloud Pak for Data. It's always good to be rated good by industry analysts, independent industry analysts. This is a Forrester report. We were rated on high, top by Forrester for our capabilities, for our roadmap vision, for the data management capabilities, data analysis capabilities. So it's report is available online. It's a very good read. If you want to share with your management as well, you can do that. So I've been signaled that my time is over. This is the last slide. 3 benefits to your business of Cloud Pak for Data. If you have to remember one thing from this presentation, only remember this one. Fast to deploy. Okay, if you have a system, fast to deploy within 4 hours. Even if you have software, fast to install. It's based on containers. It's based on CPU cores. So you pay as you grow. You buy minimum now. As you deploy more use cases, you buy more licenses. You don't have to buy immediately everything. It's not like a traditional software. We co-innovate with you. We have a team of data scientists. We come in, we help you. Okay, see the benefits of the platform plus the benefits of AI and ML to your business. Okay. It's a multi-cloud based on open source and secure platform. Cloud Pak for Data is an on-premise data and AI platform which you can deploy on any cloud if you need to. You can start on-premise now. Thank you so much. If there are any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Love to hear your information. I just get this question to you. About the data journey, if we talk about data journey, means we talk about the data intelligence, we talk also data analytics and data experience. How we connected with your topic Modernize? This first question. And number 2, we have see your slide about Cloud Paks. You have Google Clouds, you have Microsoft Cloud, you have also Amazon Web Service. How are the cloud connected, or maybe IBM provide the connection with this other? Because I see in your slide.
So let me address the second one first, then I'll address the first one.
Yeah, it's okay.
So the question is that I showed that AWS cloud, Azure cloud, and other clouds. So how does this cloud pack for data connect with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So we are using AWS, Azure, and other clouds, or our IBM cloud as well, to host. To just put, we are using their infra only. We don't need connectors for that. Okay. So it's just providing a platform to put our software there so that you can use it. Don't need connectors for that. That was the second question. The first question, I think, which I could get from this, is that how is the data architecture and data experience related with this modernization pitch?
Yeah, data is the new oil and it's very
Okay.
important for company.
Okay, so we all are in a business for, I think, many years now. We are not born in cloud or born in digital era. We are not Gojeks. Okay, so we are there since how many years? So we all have IT infrastructure, legacy systems. We have to modernize that so that digital transformation benefits can come to us as well, and AI benefits can come to us. And we have worked with our customers. The legacy platforms are not able to scale. If you are having a database, okay, and you want to apply AI on it, it will not scale. You need to expand beyond that. You need to have capabilities to access the data from different repositories. Okay, AI models are built on data. Data is a fuel for that. Okay, so when you say that data is a new oil, all the AI innovation will depend on the data. Data will train the models. Okay, I hope that answers your question.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other question? Okay, so I'm going to hand over to Sampada for covering data virtualization. If there are any other questions you think of that time, feel free to ask.
Thank you, Karan. We'll wait for the next track. So while I'm loading my slides, I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Sampada Basarkar. I lead engineering for Cloud Pack for Data. So you've heard multiple sessions today on Cloud Pack for Data. You've heard about how Cloud Pack for Data is the data and AI platform, and I lead engineering for Cloud Pack for Data. So, what is the one important thing that every business currently has today? What is one important thing? Well, money comes because of what?
The information.
Information, right? Money comes because of data, right? Money comes because businesses are trying to sell something, right? And in order for, as Karan said, right, in order for businesses to stay relevant in the current marketplace, what is that one technology that they would need to use these days?
One technology.
AI, right? ML, AI. In order for businesses to stay relevant, in order for businesses to provide that personalized experience, to provide that personalized service, they would need AI. And the companies that are using AI quite successfully are companies that are going ahead, and that's one of the reasons why we've seen that over 52% of Fortune 500 companies have actually disappeared, in the last few years, right? And that's the reason why they say that data is the new oil, or they say that data is the lifeblood, of for AI, or the data is the lifeblood of the companies, right? Now, you probably have seen this AI ladder, right? What's one thing that is preventing clients from adopting AI?
RODI, return of digital investment.
No, that's not one thing.
Oh, okay.
Afraid and lack of knowledge.
That's one. They're afraid. return on investment is pretty high,
Mm-hmm.
but one of the biggest challenges that clients face in adopting AI is being able to access data.
Oh. Okay.
Clients have thousands of data sources, so think of examples like Marriott Hotel, they have chains
Yeah.
in many countries,
Mm-hmm.
right? They have sales data in many countries. There are legal requirements to not move the data from one place to another place,
Yeah.
right?
Uh,
In Europe, there are requirements where you cannot move the data from one place to another place. But let's say me as a customer, okay? Let's say I go from one country to another country. I travel, and I always stay at Marriott, or whatever hotel chain that you like. So how would Marriott know that I've stayed in Marriott hotels in United States? Now I've traveled and now I've come to a Marriott hotel in Asia, right?
uh-huh.
How would they know that I'm a loyal client to Marriott?
You
Right?
have to be tracked.
They need to be able to track me,
Oh.
correct?
Yeah.
And they can track me only if they have the right data.
Uh-huh.
They can track me if they know I've stayed in these locations for these many days,
Oh, okay.
right?
Hmm.
So, and then let's say after they've been able to track me, they can provide me with personalized information. They can provide me with personalized maybe updates, that or personalized. They want to upsell something to me, right? That's how they will be able to do it, right? So but in order to do all of those things, they need to be able to connect to the data sources that they have in different locations, correct? So that's why when we've talked to multiple clients, we've sort of come up with a very prescriptive approach to AI, and that prescriptive approach is called AI ladder. Okay, so essentially, if clients are trying to get on an AI journey, they have to be able to first connect to different data sources, or they need to be able to collect data, from different data sources. They need to be able to organize the data, okay, which means they need to be able to create trusted data. They need to be able to understand that this is the trusted source of data, okay. So they need to be able to organize data. Only then they'll be able to analyze data, and then once they've been able to analyze, then they'll have the next step, which is trust and bias detection, and then they'll be able to infuse few things like speech to text, text to speech. That's when they'll be able to do the next steps, in the AI ladder, right? But the first step within the AI ladder really is to be able to connect to the data sources that you currently have, or collect additional data sources and really organize those data sources properly, right? So those are our first steps. Now, your organizations could have data of every type. You could have marketing data, you could have sales data, you could have your own employee data. You're going to have data of every type, right? And you're going to have data in different data sources. You're going to have some Oracle sources, you're going to have some DB2 sources, you're going to have some flat files, CSV files. Maybe you're storing some CSV files, right? Maybe you have Hadoop data lakes that you've already built. So you are going to have different data assets stored in different locations. Now, if you have to really query across these different data assets, right? It's a huge challenge because these are disparate sources. You won't be able to connect to disparate sources and get a view, a single view, from different data sources, right? So what happens, when you have these disparate data sources? Typically, organizations have, over the course of years, have created things like they've used ETL, right? Extraction, transform, load. They have data warehouses where they run these ETL processes. But sometimes, even if you have to give data for experimentation to your data scientist, many a times, you might have to end up doing ETL processing, because the data could reside in multiple data locations, right? And you may have to connect to different data sources and create this one single target and give it to your data scientist. Now, what happens as a result of that, right? Organizations end up creating a lot of data silos. So you could have challenges with in trying to get sort of, in order to be data driven, in order to have smart decisions, in order to have on demand requests or service on demand requests, you end up creating multiple data silos because you're trying to serve your clients, and you end up creating small data silos, and that just ends up making problem even more harder, because now you have so many data silos. You are trying to figure out how do I trust these data silos, because your data could become stale, very soon your data is going to become stale once you start creating these silos. You won't have the same view of data in your source systems versus your target systems, right? And then creating these updating these data silos becomes a huge challenge also, right? And that's where the data virtualization technology really comes into play. Okay, so now what is data virtualization? Think of data virtualization as a single view, a control plane, okay, that you can get by being able to connect to different data sources. Okay, you can use a SQL, pretty much a SQL query, which you're very familiar with, to be able to connect to these different data sources, disparate data sources, and create virtual tables. Okay, you can also build views on top of these virtual tables. You can join these virtual tables. Okay, now when you're creating these virtual tables, these are not physical tables, these are tables that are just virtually that are being created. Okay, and these tables can be created from disparate data sources. Okay, so for data virtualization, all of these sources are almost like the same sources. The data virtualization does not consider them as disparate. For it views them as just sources. Okay, so you could have multiple sources. You could have data warehouses or marts. You could have relational databases. You could have NoSQL databases. You could have big data Hadoop data sources. You could have multiple disparate data sources. Okay, and they can just be accessed by the data virtualization layer, as a single pane where you can query the data, okay? And once you've done that, you can create virtual tables, you can create views on top of that, and you can use them for your data science. You can use them for your further analytics. You can even use them for just building reports if you need to, right? So imagine the power that you're going to get out of this, because now the whole process of creating multiple ETL jobs is eliminated. You're going to get instant saving now, because you don't have to worry about not just creating these silos, you or maintaining these silos, right? And as a result of that, you're going to get a huge saving and a huge performance sort of boost, to be able to run your data models, to be able to run your AI models also.
To run the AI model or data model, we need the connected experience and innovative workforce as your slide before.
Correct, yes.
Yeah. So data virtualization can work together.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you.
I'm going to go to that. So I really view data virtualization, as sort of 4 or 5 different steps. Okay. So the first step in data virtualization is connect. Okay, so you connect to the different data sources. Okay. Then the second step of the data virtualization is really combine. Okay, where you're combining these different data sources, you're creating virtual tables, you're creating a view on top of that. You might have, and in my subsequent slides, I'm going to talk about more. We have a process called as schema folding, which will enable you to combine your data sources much more easily. Okay. Then the third thing is really caching. Okay, and that's where your question about performance comes into play, because different data sources could have different latency. Okay, depending on the kind of data source there might be latency involved in this, and that's where caching is going to come into play. So data virtualization service on top of Cloud Pak for Data supports caching, where you can cache the query results, you can cache the query, and you can have the query be executed on a particular interval. So the data can be cached and you can use that for your further analytics. Okay. And then sort of the fourth layer is catalog. Integration with a catalog for governance perspective. So that's what data virtualization offers. I almost call it as 4 C's. Sort of combine, sort of connect, combine, cache. Okay. And then catalog. So what are the other alternatives? The alternatives are really, as I said earlier, being able to run the ETL jobs. As I said earlier, you have to end up doing a lot of data transformation to be able to really get to the data sets that you want that can be used in your AI framework, right? And the risks, I've already talked about some of these risks. The risks is to data security, because now you end up creating these different silos for your data, which are not very secure. The risk is latency, inconsistency. I've talked about inconsistency as the risk, because your source data might keep changing, but your target that you're using for training your AI models, that's not changed. So as a result of that, you're going to start getting inconsistent results, right? So these are all the challenges that you currently have as the alternatives, and that are the impediments for your AI ladder. Those are the impediments, that are preventing you from making progress in adopting AI also. Okay.
What's the typical cost saving?
So a typical cost saving is about 80% time, in terms of time, almost about 80%. So let's say you have to end up creating different targets through ETL process or refine the data in a certain way. You're going to end up trying to, and let's say if you have disparate data sources, imagine how there's no easy process, right? You'll have to create complex ETL jobs. Then those jobs will push the data into your target systems. Now again, the movement of the data will come into play, right? Here you're not really moving any data. The data stays in the source systems itself, which is a key thing.
But caching, you still need some investment, right?
Caching is a functionality that comes natively with data virtualization, so you don't need any additional investment for caching. Okay. So what are some of the broad data sources that data virtualization supports? Okay, so you can see this entire list of all of the data sources that data virtualization currently supports. So it's a fairly exhaustive list of the sources that the data virtualization currently supports. And in our current release that we've just come out with, we also support Drill, Snowflake, SAP HANA. We also support Z sources, a lot of mainframe sources. So if you have any mainframe systems and you're trying to get data out of those mainframe systems, we also support Z sources for data virtualization. So what are some of the advantages of using data virtualization? right? So the advantages are, as I said earlier, you can query across many different data sources. We've talked about that. Then you can query multiple databases at once, which is, okay. You can query multiple databases at once. We've talked about that. I was going to talk about schema discovery and folding, okay? And this where, when I said, I remember I said connect, combine, right? And that's where combine comes into play, where schema folding will come into play, right? So what is schema folding? Now let's say you have sales data, taking an example of a hotel, Marriott, right? They have sales data in for every region, okay? Now the schema for the sales data for every region, you know, might be the same, okay? It might be very similar, okay? Now, once data virtualization engine is connected, you know, to different data sources, okay, it automatically finds matching tables across systems, okay? So if the schema is similar or very same, it will find matching tables across different regions, okay? And you can query them as a single view, so it will automatically fold that schema, you know, it will make it as a, it will almost make it seem like it's a single schema, and you can query them as a single virtual table. So rather than making it as a different tables from different schemas, you'll think of them as one single schema and a bunch of tables from one single schema, and these schemas can reside, you know, in any location.
Is it a third party IBM
service? Yes. So data virtualization.
itself?
These are all the features that are available in the service. Okay.
Proprietary to IBM.
The service is proprietary to IBM, but these are features within that service. So functionality within that service. Okay. I've talked about governance integration. So the catalog integration. Catalog integration will provide you strict access control. You know, so once you have created your virtual tables, you've published them to the catalog. What will it enable? It will enable self-service. Okay. You'll be able to search on those virtual tables. So let's say if tomorrow you've created a virtual table and somebody within your organization wants to use them, and you've published it to the catalog, that other person can use those same virtual tables, you know. But let's say you don't want to give access to somebody, right? Because there might be some sensitive data in those tables. You can also restrict access. So through the integration of the governance catalog, you can have restricted access. You can have access control. Okay. And then finally, once you've created these virtual tables using data virtualization, you can also use your rich application capabilities, your favorite SQL editors that you like, or your favorite SQL apps that you like, or RStudio or Jupyter Notebook. You can use these virtual tables in any of these favorite applications that you like. Okay. Here's an example of schema folding that I talked earlier. So now what is the return of investment for data virtualization? And as I said, you know, almost a huge increase in the productivity, okay? 80% of reduction in development cost for data preparation, which is a big cost. Almost 50% time savings over traditional integration methods, and 10x acceleration of data discovery and data delivery using data services. You know, so this is your return of investment on data virtualization. And all the capabilities that I talked about, the caching, the schema folding, all of those capabilities come natively with data virtualization. Okay. This is an example of the bank, Mercantile Bank of New York, which uses data virtualization. And you can see, you know, I mean, before data virtualization, the CIO's blood pressure was really high, 180 over 120, you know, because of all the challenges that he had in terms of managing the data. And then, of course, with data virtualization, they used our distributed data services, They were able to scale up pretty well, and of course, as a result of that, they were able to run the queries very fast and get trusted data, very, very easily. Since I only have 3 minutes, I'm going to quickly walk you guys through the demo. Let's see. So this is CloudPack for Data. It's the platform. I'm going to pause. Let's see if I can pause. Sorry. Okay. So CloudPack for Data comes with a bunch of services. Think of like your iPhone, your mobile phone. Mobile phone has bunch of services. The platform has bunch of services. It comes enabled with all of these services. Okay. I talked about Watson Knowledge Catalog being one of the service, so this is there. It's very easy to provision through the Kubernetes and the Docker framework. It's very easy to provision these services that are available on top of the platform. Watson Studio is another service. This is a service that you can use for doing your Jupyter notebooks. All of your data science can be done using Watson Studio as a service.
We can see all this information.
These are all the services on CloudPack for Data. Exactly. They're all available on CloudPack for Data. Okay.
So it's like an app store.
It's like an app store, exactly. And it's modular design, So you can choose which service you want depending on your business requirements. You don't have to download all the services right from the get-go. So here I'm starting a demo of data virtualization. As you can see that I have disparate data sources that I've connected to. And this is called as constellation. Okay. So when it connects to different data sources, it connects them in the form of something called as a constellation. You can see that I have bunch of tables, account tables, and I have them in different schemas, AML, IP contest, a lot of these different schemas. I can select these tables, and I can virtualize them, So this is a easy mechanism of sort of virtualizing these tables.
You need to be a data engineer or just a business user to do this?
So you can be a data engineer and a business user. Both of them, it's because of the ease of use. You can absolutely, as a business user, if you're sort of wearing the hat of a data engineer, you can use data virtualization. In some organizations, they have very separate roles. So basically, depending on what your role is, you can certainly use data virtualization. So I've been asked to sort of cut this short. I'm going to see if I can fast forward. Okay, here. So essentially, you can, once you've created a virtual table, you can use them directly in the platform, in your Jupyter notebook or your RStudio, and use it for your data science and your AI workloads. Okay? So that's what I wanted to show you guys. And here is just a quick example of how we've been able to connect to 349 different nodes, different data sources, and create this constellation. It creates automatically. So there's no manual configuration needed here. There is an entire page on data virtualization that we've created. We also have a white paper that's been written on data virtualization. These are some important things for you guys. That's all I had. Thank you.
Have you got a lapel one?
Yes.
I don't want to use that.
Oh, shit.
Soon, huh? Lapel? Lapel?
Oh, no, I don't. You don't.
Okay, awesome.
You want to use?
The clip on one.
No, clip on here.
Oh, no clip. Okay, alright, awesome.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Hello everyone, my name's Stuart Cranch and I'm going to take you through it's something that's not exactly in the track of AI, but it's something that's very, very important to a lot of organisations. And when you look at the problems that application development has with test data, and that's what we're really going to talk about this afternoon, the traditional use of test data has been problematic for a lot of organisations. And when we move into the future of AI, the problem gets exacerbated. And really, if I boil it down to what organisations are looking for, is what a CEO is looking for, and it's how can I be different now and better than my competition now and tomorrow. And this is the raw reality of what we're dealing with in this brave new world of AI. And the ability to deliver new applications, particularly in a world where developers need to drive these new modes and models. Where's my iPhone? It's around here somewhere. You know, Generation X, Generation, or the Y, Z, you know, millennials, we're all coming around to the fact that we're doing business through our iPhone. Any organisation that doesn't embrace that strategy of mobile applications, delivering data, delivering functionality about their customers in real time is going to lose. So in the sphere of actually rolling out applications, one of the biggest inhibitors is the ability to test data. Now, there was a bank in Indonesia that had major issues around systems. They're all over the world, and I can talk about them a little bit later, but it boils down to effective system testing. And what I'm going to take you through... You're part of the team. It's a little difficult with this table here, and I like to move around and let you see the screen. But, you know, so to do it, we've got to overcome these things like access. How do I access data? How do I get security access? The portability, the speed of delivery. Can I get test data in a day as opposed to 5 weeks? Or in some instances, at organisations, 6 months to get effective test data to test my brand new applications in AI. So it's really a big thing to roll out these applications. And also the security concerns. Everyone's familiar with PII, personally identified information. How do we handle that in this brave new world where data is coming from all over the place? So that's what I'm going to walk you through. The business justification around it, and these are actual figures, that if you look at an overall testing environment where you've got to, for example, you know, set up your system, you've got to provision the database server and so forth. These are more one-time type of operations. But when we get into the actual test data provisioning or getting the test data and the actual provisioning of it, it's using 50% of your time. So it's a massive thing, and these are a lot of hidden costs for organisations that, you know, whether it be the back office bill, whatever, are doing this type of work, and it's really a slow and laborious process. So this is what we're on about to remove this type of thing. But if you look at the big database, you know, the world, we've overcome it through things like database cloning. For those familiar with cloning, I can take a copy of my database and move it, shift it that 10 terabytes from one system to the next, get it up and running. But it's terribly inefficient. You've still got to do things around the security. It does take time. Enter the world of, you know, the downtime. I've got to actually stop operations, do things. You know, it's going to impact my business. And the final thing is that whole copying of data, big data, lots of data for testing. It's not cloud friendly. I can't grab a whole lot of, you know, those file systems, whether it be Oracle, whether it be DB2, whether it be SQL Server, and just grab it and plop it in the cloud. It's not that straightforward. So these are all the inhibitors that we see. So what I wanted to take you through, sort of the next interlude, is what are the typical challenges, and we'll start off with a little bit of an audience survey. Does anyone work with data in the audience? You know, some of the challenges that we see, and, you know, I've taken this product around Asia Pacific, and a lot of people, we've interviewed, you know, from procurement to the CIO to the DBAs and everything else. They all have different issues, and number one was that, you know, internal and external growth of data, just the physical size of it. Getting into things like sequential project testing. I've got to wait for another team to stop their project testing before I can move on and do mine. So I can only ever run really on that test data one project team, so I can't get economies of scale on it, things like that. Time to market dependencies on the infrastructure team. In some instances it takes 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. We'll talk a little bit about these in more detail. But the list goes on. This is my Star Wars impersonation. If you've seen the first Star Wars movie, moving titles across the screen. But anyway, so there's a multitude of issues. I can guarantee you 80% of these issues you'll face in your business at some point in time. And really, that's what we're on about addressing in this situation. So I talked about data growth, some facts and figures for you. The doubling of volume every 3 years. It's massive. It's only going to get worse. You're going to have data. You add in the unstructured data and the manipulation of it. We're testing new applications. It's just getting harder and harder. And then you go into the exponential nature of it. You're copying data around. It's becoming unmanageable. You're breaking governance rules and things like that. So these are all the nasty things. Time to market, sequential testing. Team A is working on something. Your CFO, CIO, CEO comes up with a brave new idea to say, we need to do this right and we need to do it now. Basically, they're told to wait because you've got to get in line. You've got to get in line as a project because you can only do testing one at a time. So these are all some of the typical problems. This one was from a bank in India. And we went through and spent a lot of time with their infrastructure team. We went through and analysed how much time they were spending just in the process of provisioning. Not the physical bit, but the process of going through all the hoops and bounds. But it basically boiled down to, you request it, you open tickets, you do this. It was a 4-week process just to get the approval to get it going. And that's actually pretty quick in a lot of instances. The second part of it was physically, then you've got to copy the stuff. So then I've got to take a copy of that production data with it in itself is a feat that some organisations can only do once a year. Then I've got to take that first copy, then I've got to create all these other copies within it. So it's clunky, it really is impacting. So what I'm going to introduce to you, we've only got 25 minutes, so it'll be quick, but I'm going to introduce a product from IBM called Virtual Data Pipeline that we're joining up with our data privacy. And what it addresses 3 basic challenges that I alluded to in the first bit. So the first bit is the virtualization of that whole data process so I can get virtual instant copies. So these are virtual instance copies of 1 terabyte databases, 10 terabyte, 50, 100, whatever it may be. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through and how that actually works. The ability to do self-service. So all that process, that provisioning, everything else I'm going to get rid of. I'm going to allow my application project teams, my businesses that own those, to actually grab that data securely as a self-service instead of having to ask to copy 10 terabytes here and there and everywhere. And then probably the most important thing is I'm not going to kill production. I'm going to do automated incremental refreshes. So I'm going to take data updates from my production system and update it, trickle feed it, whatever it be, whatever the policy you want to put in place. So I've got real-time data all the time for my testing in a secure manner. So they're the 3 tenets. And so introducing the product, I'm not going to spend too much time on the bibs and bobs of the product, but if you look how it works, we're taking at a block level, does it? Oh, I won't ask the question because no one will answer, but it works at a block level. It takes those files, it's got very intelligent undercovers, checking and balances. So it's doing it at a very low level and it's very, very efficient. So we can take production data from whether it be Microsoft Exchange, DB2, SAP HANA. SAP actually use Virtual Data Pipeline for their own internal release rollout testing. So they've given it a rubber stamp. VMs, Oracle, you name it. So we're taking that data and then through an intelligent process, secure process, we're creating what we call gold copy. So we do that as a one-time process. We create this gold copy, and then once we've done that, we can do incremental updates. But we're making that available to things like, typically in the past it's been used as backup or disaster recovery and virtual copies. But we're making it available through the self-service APIs. We might mask the data, for example, to create virtual copies for testing. Now, you might say, well, I've had customers say to me, well, I can just do that, I can just copy data one to the other. The major difference here is that if I'm working with a production data system that's quite large, I'm creating that one copy because I need to. I need to decouple it from my production system. But from then on down, these are virtual. They use 0 space. So it's I can spin them up very, very quickly. So if we go through maybe a little bit more detail. There we go. So, in an older type processing environment, I'm using 10 terabytes. I'm creating a manual clone. I'm creating another 80 terabytes. Very clunky. With virtual data pipeline, I'm creating one 10 terabyte copy through an automated refresh, and then I'm providing self-service virtual copies at 0 terabyte, so next to no footprint. Now, within my testing, I might, for example, want to do destructive testing, or things like that, or I might want to write data to these virtual databases. So it will write to these databases, so you will get some footprint there, but I could just refresh them as I go through. So it's very, very intelligent. There's a lot of management structure around it. When I say self-service, secure self-service, access to only things that you're allowed to. So it's a very, very secure type system. Okay, so just some business real-world backups that on what I'm saying is that at Citibank's a major user. It took them 21 days to do a clone. They've got that down to 20 minutes, so they can clone an entire. These are big databases. They've actually got 8,000 Oracle databases. They can do it in 20 minutes. They can spin up one in 20 minutes. Bang, done. I need to do destructive testing, reset, spin it up, 20 minutes. So these are the really important things, and you can see that. You can read the slides, but there's a massive reduction in that time and that business agility. So if you spin it back to what we're talking about at the start, AI, doing things agile, doing things quickly, this is providing that type of thing. We can't wait a year now to drive out our models and our algorithms. We need it now. Okay, so what about the cloud? Does everyone know what the cloud is? Anyone not? Okay, good. So from a storage point of view, we can again create our gold copy, but we can deploy copies of that into the cloud. And this is a really big step for a lot of organisations that, for example, are outsourcing, that are doing things that want to go from their on-premise to on cloud. They can start to move that test data virtually from ground to cloud. I can do another thing, which is probably the most important thing. I can store it in object store. Now, for those of you that know the cost of object store versus normal storage, it's much, much, much cheaper. So it's very important. I've got a presentation from a conference with our partner in Boston that they interviewed one of our customers, and this is a report that you can download. But they've done that technology. They've had it on premise and they've moved it into the cloud. And they've actually found that their production database queries were running 49% faster on object store. Obviously, the faster data provisioning because they're using this virtual, and they're getting close to an 80% lower TCO on the use of it. So some really good figures there. This is an external non-IBM report, and I'll just take you through the video. So if we set it up, it gives me a chance to have a glass of water.
Welcome to Actifio's 2019 Data-Driven Conference. We're in Boston, and I am joined today by Brian Garrett, who is the EVP of Validation Services at ESG. Brian, tell me about the new report you just completed, the general background, and why did you do this?
Sure. So we were testing the combination of IBM Virtual Data Pipeline, IBM Infosphere Virtual Data Pipeline, and Cloud Object Storage. What we were trying to show is for a 50 terabyte Oracle database that we could make copies for 5 developers quickly, easily, and affordably compared to traditional methods.
Well, that's great. I believe this was done over a pretty long distance. This was at a remote site, and you got some very interesting results.
Yes. The primary data center was in Dallas, and we were remotely mirrored with the VDP technology. It's enabling a compressed image, so 50 terabytes down to 17 terabytes, and was replicated to Gaithersburg, Maryland. And that's where we presented the 5 copies. And they used virtually no storage because it's just enabling snapshots.
Well, that's actually very surprising given that it's object storage. And was there any performance impact or anything that we should worry about here?
Yeah, that's a common misconception is that with Oracle, I can traditionally use block storage. Can I use object storage? And is it fast enough? And that was the goal of the test. We tested, and actually before and after, it turns out that the object storage was actually faster, which was not an intuitively obvious result. But we queried 600 million rows doing a simple query in 2 minutes, and doing a complex query in 8 minutes. That's really fast decision support, allowing you to get more depth value from your data. What we've confirmed is that making these copies for DevOps is quicker and easier to centrally manage. The bottom line being that you can save 79% compared to traditional methods. So a 3-year TCO, we saw 79% savings. So faster, easier, and much more cost effective.
Well, Brian, thank you very much. And thank you for watching.
So yeah, look, that report is available. There's links at the end of it, but it's a really compelling argument. And this is, for those of you who are involved in either provisioning or using test data, or sorry.
I actually have a question about I understand about the virtualized database. Like, what about the application? Say my application is designed to connect everything data from Oracle. Now I want to my developers or testers want to work on a copy, a virtualized copy. Does the whatever the access to it have to change or?
No, it's a copy. It's an exact virtual copy.
So I mean like the method to access the database?
Yeah, it's going to be on a different server, hopefully, than production. That'll be normal. So you're virtually mounting it somewhere else. So you're going through exactly the same Oracle, the exact same SQL server. It's at the back end, it's mirroring the blocks. And it's managing it. So there's no, and this is the beauty of it, that it's totally transparent. It just looks like another Oracle database, and it's managed that way. So that's where a lot of efficiency. The guys at Citibank, they've got 8,000 databases in their test environment. If you walked up to one of the developers and said, "Are you using this product?" they would say, "What product?" They wouldn't know because it's totally transparent, and that's it. So when they test, they read from the virtual copy, and they write back to their own virtualized one. So there'll be a little bit of growth in the data if they're doing that type of testing. They can just reset it. So really intelligent stuff. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about data security. I used this at another presentation, because I was looking at the web and going, how many data breaches have there been? And it's actually quite startling. We've got the Facebooks and the Equifax and all those type of ones. The one that actually made me smile the most was to do with our friend from WikiLeaks, who was part of Ecuador for a while. But this one, if you can't read it there, the entire population data from Ecuador was leaked. It was actually, you Google it on CNN or something like that, it's an inside job. Basically, the data was moved, I think it was to Miami. They were using an outsourcer, it got hacked, and off they went. But, data security is important. It floored me, the whole country's data gone. So data masking as part of testing can be really time consuming. For those that have done it, it is painful at times, and it's doubly painful now with consumer privacy laws, GDPR. There's a Data Privacy Act coming, or eventually, I think it's draft form in Indonesia, it's been for a while. But they'll come, so it's just getting harder and harder to do things. But virtual data pipeline provides the ability to do masking. And masking is an automated process. I'll cover the key points for a little shorter time, but it allows you to do automated masking without human touch. So you can set up this whole virtual database environment, set up what we call a live clone, mask it without anyone touching it. That's really important in security because you don't have a point of failure in there. You're making multiple copies if you wish. So just going through the process of how it works. For you up the back there, if you're testing Oracle and you're testing other databases, you can join them all together. Obviously, they're logically not linked, but I can load up on a virtual copy as many things as I want, databases, stores, VMs, whatever, and they're all accessible to me. So from a masking point of view, I create my gold copy, which is my virtual copy, and then I can configure what we call live clones. I can specify the masking routines that I want to do, names, addresses, credit cards, things like that, whatever the PII information is. I can then mount that to what we call our masking server, mask the data, and then make it available for testing. And this whole process on this side is automated, and that's that security piece. It's so really important. Then I can go through automatic refreshes for those who can't see it on the left, and then create more live clones as needed as I go through time. So really for those architecturally minded, this is a total decoupling from production. This is really absolutely key in the world we live in. There's a guy over here with a hook. He's about to take me off. Is it 5 minutes? Awesome. We've got to get a selfie at the end, by the way, for those that you're in it. All right, what else? So parallel testing, I alluded to that at the start. The ability to say, okay, well, I've got the QA department using a version for testing right now. production's gone down, I need to test something else. In one world they'd say, well, QA, delete all your stuff, get rid of that, or production, you can wait, which is unheard of. But the ability to run up another virtual copy instantaneously and then test in parallel can get you out of those type of issues, and also allow you to do multiple project testing on the same production data. So really key. Okay, so bookmarks, negative cases, everyone's Time Machine. I'm an Apple person, so I know Time Machine. I don't know what the Windows equivalent is, but Apple, you can bookmark your system in time. I can go backwards, forwards, recover documents. Same thing here. So as data's coming in, it's been time-stamped at a block level. So we understand where things are in time. So I can say, okay, well, I want to test something at a particular moment in time. I want to take a snapshot. I want to go through and I want to destroy it. Do a really destructive test, for example, and I want to roll it back. Bang, roll it back. So these are the type of things you can go through. Add a virtual database by virtual database. So I could have 100 of these rolling backwards, forwards, with snapshots, everything else based from that one virtual copy. So some real deep functionality in there. So let's go through a quick demonstration. It actually runs about 4 minutes, so we should be fine.
To begin, we open the Virtual Data Pipeline Global Manager website. In our demo environment, we will be using the standard default entries of admin for the username and password in the password field before pressing the login button. After a short while, the main dashboard will be displayed. On the dashboard, we can see various applets showing the actual status of the system itself. We can see the number of applications, or in this case, databases that are managed. The total amount of data under VDP management is also displayed. The bottom line is this is where you go to check how well the system is running. From here, we need to use the menu ribbon along the left side to navigate to each component of the application. Of course, the dashboard is the top icon, and since it is currently active, it is highlighted. Moving down the column, the next icon is the domain manager, where we configure VDP appliances, users, hosts, and other management components. Next comes the SLA manager, the application manager, catalog, and system monitor. For our purposes today, we will be focusing on the application manager components, as the system has been pre-configured for the appliances and hosts. Let's move on to the application manager to start building our workflow. Here we see the different applications or databases we've defined to the VDP application. If we had a large number of these, we would be able to filter our display to show only those pertinent to our needs. The application database we will be focusing on has already been created. Today's demo will be to build a workflow against our Oracle database, OraProd 1. To begin the process, select the OraProd 1 application and right mouse click to open the submenu before selecting Manage Workflows. To begin the process, we need to select the Add Workflow button in the upper right. In the Workflow dialog, we have the ability to configure every aspect of the workflow process, from the type of workflow to where the clones are being created. For our purposes, we are going to be creating a standard direct mount clone in an on-demand schedule environment. To begin, we need to enter the workflow name and select the workflow and schedule types. Once these are done, we will tell VDP where to mount the clone, and for this demo, we will be selecting CNT VDP 01. Since we aren't applying masking techniques at this point, we can leave the scripting options blank. The next task is to turn on the option to create a new virtual appliance or application, which opens up additional fields needing updating. We need to fill in the fields highlighted by the red asterisks. Those include the target Oracle SID, or system identifier, the Oracle username, and the Oracle Home Directory. Once those fields are entered, use the twist by the advanced options to open yet more possible fields. Finally, enter the TNS domain name and press the Add button to save the workflow. When the workflow is saved, a notification pop-up window will appear. Press OK to close the window, displaying all available workflows. From here, we will be able to execute our new workflow. To do this, simply select the workflow just created and select Run Now. There are not many updates needed to this screen before executing the workflow. We simply need to tell the workflow to provision a new virtual application before scrolling down and pressing the Submit button. Press the OK button to dismiss the pop-up window. The current status column will show the step of each active workflow and refresh periodically. This process will take several minutes, and when complete, will show it as idle with a previous run status indicating whether it's successful.
I can stop it there because that's a good spot. We're a little short of time. So what that actually was doing was that was creating that first golden copy. So that's that one-time process, and then from then on in, once you've mounted it, it's virtually available to anyone who uses it. So that was a very simple look and feel. It gave you an idea of what's big important bits in there. It does the smart things under the covers and understands that you're doing it for Oracle or D2 or whatever it may be. So you can then manipulate it because some things like maybe you want to change the memory size, whatever it may be in there. You've got control over that. So to know more, 4 things. So these are in the deck. That's the ESG report that we went through earlier, which is really, really intuitive. The cloud thing to me is a really powerful message. And I'll be around all afternoon if you want a deeper chat on it. So thank you.
Good afternoon, and I think we have the last topic for the day. We have saved the best for the last. My name is Suresh, and I look after the cognitive and analytic solution for ASEAN. And I think throughout the morning and in the afternoon, you heard about IBM Cloud Pak for Data. As a platform, I think Karan talked about just a little bit about systems. This session is supposed to focus on IBM Cloud Pak for Data systems and what it is and how it basically fits into the whole scheme of things that Karan talked about in your journey to AI. We are all living in a different era. We are all talking about that we need to go through or we are going through digital transformation. And when we talk about digital transformation, our customers are talking about digital transformation. They are looking at how that whole experience for their customers can be done. We basically look at how we can provide that information on the mobile phones or the internet or basically embed AI into the new applications. Everybody knows about Netflix. What a better example than Netflix, how they use machine learning to look at recommendations on something that they basically put forward. So if you watch a drama, they will recommend a similar drama or on a similar theme immediately. Other example is Amazon, of course. Amazon has been doing for a very long time about the recommendations on their goods or anything that you buy on Waze. Based on your driving patterns as well. It can figure out the path and the way to navigate to your home, to your office, or any personalized driving experience that you need to go through. What are customers expecting? our customers, your customers, your customers' customers, there is a certain level of expectation in these customers. They expect that we know them. They expect that we basically are able to provide them information or services in a secure manner. We are able to advise them. We are able to basically stick with them through and thin, thick and thin, whatever the scenarios are. We are able to basically alert them. We are able to find them where they are, because when you sometimes give them something, it should be specific to the location where they are. Now, these are all scenarios where when we talk about being customer-focused enterprise, those are the things we need to look at. Do I know more about our customer? Do I know something more about their likes, their dislikes? So whether we are talking about customer acquisition, whether we are talking about service, whether we are talking about support, or whether we are just talking about the engagement and experience that we have, every place is an opportunity for us to embed, as we call artificial intelligence or machine learning, or I would rather say data insight. Because when I embed the data insight onto these interactions, I make those interactions richer. I basically have a differentiated experience. For example, any bank or any financial services institution, they may have a similar product, but why do you go to one, not the other? Probably because there are certain differentiation in the way they treat you, they provide you that service, ease of use, whatever those criteria are, basically that's what makes you go to one and not to the other. And that's basically important because Karan talked about various use cases in various industries. Now, this is the customer part of it, and it revolves around all the industries that Karan talked about, be it financial service, manufacturing, retail, distribution, manufacturing, whatever it is. This is where we look at and we say, we can generate insight and embed that insight into our applications using machine learning, data science, or advanced analytics. It is not about and or. It is not about whether I just need a data warehouse or a data lake or a data hub. It is about providing the right information at the right time, with the right intent, with the right messaging, right information that is supposed to be there. We require all of them. Data warehouse provides me a historical view, as it happened, as at that point of time. Data lake provides me an ability to store a lot of information, structured, unstructured. Data hub provides me the ability to store curated information, governed data, with all the securities, policies, and procedures put on top of it, so that we are basically providing the right information with all connections we talked about. Sampada talked about virtualization. Karan talked about virtualization in some context. Now, all that is fine. That is basically to provide that ability that you have the right information with the right policies provided to the users for the rightful use of what the information they are looking for. One of the Lyft is in US, and they spend 25% of their time just looking for the right data. Forget about using it further, but just searching for the right data, they spend about 25% of the time. And this is how we talked about, Karen talked about in the morning, how we are helping our customers to basically take advantage of the Cloud Pak for Data platform, from collecting, organizing, and infusing all the data into your AI journey that you are embarking on, based on open source components and giving you the ability to run on multiple cloud or hybrid cloud as well. The solution is based on premise, but you have the ability to run in cloud as well. You can run on premise, you can deploy these models that you develop in cloud. Now, this was all the software part that Karen talked about in detail. Somebody talked about some functions in feature. What is so different now that we're talking about this again? So let me introduce to you the Cloud Pak for Data Systems. Now, Cloud Pak for Data Systems, as the name suggests, is, we don't call it an appliance, and I will explain why we don't call it an appliance. The reason is very simple. If I take iPhone as an example, if you want something new, you will have to go back to them and they will replace this whole set. In this, appliance had that problem that whenever you want to upgrade, a new set of an appliance comes in. And we thought that that is very destructive to our customers. So we basically followed the concept of a platform which provides you the ability of combining not only the hardware, software, network, and basically offering that all the things that were supposed to be a limitation of cloud, or basically customers were thinking that they need to move to cloud. We provided all those functionality in this one platform, which is Cloud Pak for Data. It's basically on the concept of hyper-converged system. A hyper-converged system, as the name suggests, is a combination of storage, computing, network, software into a single solution, so that we make it simple for you, and basically you can start using the whole solution in a fast time frame. You look at essence to market, time to market is critical for you. So we need to have a solution that can basically you can quickly install and run and start running your data science and AI journey without compromising the speed, compromising the scalability and the flexibility that you require. It is modular with building blocks in server, with the storage, the network. You start small and you have the ability to grow later as your needs are growing. It is not a monolithic appliance. That's why I said I don't call this as an appliance. We don't call it as an appliance. And the reason why the concept of hyper-converged system is, let's say you start with the base today. It could be on a certain version of hardware. Tomorrow or day after, when your requirements grow and you need to expand it, it need not be the same version of the storage, same version of the hardware, same version of the chips. It could be different. But you could seamlessly plug it in without having any problems to extend the solution to address your business needs. You can deploy this whole thing in 4 hours. And we have taken basically the pain to combine and integrate everything behind, so that when it arrives in your premise, you should be able to basically put that in your private cloud within 4 hours of arrival. You have the ability to scale, pay as you grow. I think Karan touched on it. We do not have to basically go and say today we need 100 terabytes or 200 terabytes of stuff. We can start small, and basically like Karan coined a term, or was talking about a term called fail fast or pass fast with your experimentation. That allows that we can basically use this infrastructure and solution to do that. It is highly available because we have taken care of making sure that things are redundant, the network switches, the management switches, and basically you can just plug in another hardware. Now the basic starter bundle that machine comes with, 128 cores of CPUs, 1.5 terabyte of memory, and 32 terabytes of storage. I think by any means it's good, more than enough to start any AI projects or AI or your AI journey. But if you want to go, and if the requirements are getting bigger and bigger, you basically can add as we go along. So when we basically talk about the Cloud Pak for data systems, these are basically the blades, the management switch, the network switch put together. You basically get that all put together in a working state that you can leverage straight away. So that's what we basically combine the whole. We are not just talking about the software, we are not just talking about the hardware, we are talking about the solution that you can straight away start using for your AI journey. Now, some people say, how can we do the private cloud in a box? This is exactly the solution, that it is within your premise, exactly behaves how a cloud system will behave, but within the controls and within the security of your firewalls. You have the ability to scale up or scale down on those resources. So we basically, as I mentioned, we start with the base unit, and then you basically can just buy the additional hardware, which is the expansion units, and it will automatically get discovered, and your systems would be able to use that extension. Adding software or the hardware, because everything comes configured, is as simple as what you do, basically like downloading an app from an app store. It's as simple as that. All based on, again, the same fundamental philosophies of open source, OpenShift container platform with all the open source R, Python, Scala, Jupyter Notebook, machine learning libraries that we talked about. Can you play with me?
That encapsulates all the features you've come to love about ICP for data. This integrated hardware and software solution lets you quickly build out your hardware infrastructure behind the firewall, modernizing your data estate in just a few hours. With this new offering, you can now truly have a single, unified platform for all your data management, governance, and analytics needs across a multi-cloud and private cloud environment. Cloud Pak for Data System also makes it easier than ever to monitor and manage the health of your hardware and software. So let's take a look. Getting set up should be a breeze for your system administrator because Cloud Pak for Data System auto-discovers components in order to speed up the configuration process. You can see it's already found a number of components and configured them down below, while up at the top there are a few unknown components that you can update. For example, let's apply a rack ID. Cloud Pak for Data System harnesses some powerful capabilities, such as auto-balancing workloads, dynamic expansion and scaling, and built-in monitoring and analytics. Speaking of monitoring, the homepage has been designed to really give the system administrator a clear and actionable snapshot of the health of their system. At the top, you can access your notifications. You can also see key metrics for 3 primary areas: hardware, resource usage, and software. Straight away, this server node issue jumps out. If you hover, you can see there are 4 failed nodes. You can get a list view as well as a graphical view that makes it a lot more real. By drilling into the details, you can take a look under the hood and get a sense of what might be wrong in order to diagnose and troubleshoot the problem. Let's head back to the home page and take a closer look at the resource usage. This feature lets you see different KPIs without the need to leave the dashboard. Here you can see a visual indicator of CPU usage. This spike on April 16th stands out. That might be something to follow up on. You can also click to switch to a view of any of these other KPIs as well. If we click on Disk I/O, for example, we can see a nice trend graph to the left. It's dynamic, it's visual, it's everything you need and nothing more. Scrolling down to the software metrics, again, it's all about making it easy to see at a glance what's going on, what needs immediate attention, and you can always drill down for the details. Why don't we do that? We can easily navigate to a detailed overview of the hardware metrics, and an even deeper dive is available by clicking into any of these indicators. You can also access the graphical view to help with monitoring. It's a similar story for resource usage. The system administrator has everything they care about at their fingertips, be it storage capacity, hardware status, or resource utilization. It's all presented in an easy-to-digest way. Now let's take a look at the software overview. The software overview gives the admin access to any software that's running on the data system. In this case, we can see an instance of ICPD running. That's a quick overview of the monitoring capabilities. Let's check out some of the administrative features that we know the system admin will be needing. The data system is easy to scale and configure. You can auto-discover new nodes or you can delete old nodes at any time. Managing permissions is also very straightforward. The data system uses the same intuitive, role-based user management method as Cloud Pak for Data. This makes it easy to provide specific privileges to each of your users. We've also included a call home feature. The user can customize this feature by using advanced rules, notifications, and thresholds. And finally, we've included a seamless way to navigate between the monitoring environment and the runtime. Here you can see the instance of Cloud Pak for Data that's running on the data system. Cloud Pak for Data is a complete, integrated, end-to-end data-to-AI journey, and the administrator's dashboard is just a click away. As you can see, IBM Cloud Pak for Data system gives you an end-to-end data experience that lets you collect, organize, and analyze your data in a secure, private cloud environment. It's data ready, it's AI infused, and it's intuitive to monitor and maintain. It's IBM Cloud Pak for Data in a box.
So here are some, I think, success stories, some of the, say, Sprint, which I use Cloud Pak for Data. I think that let me talk about how you can engage IBM. And I think Karan did talk about in the session as well. We basically can do use case workshops, half a day, with our data scientist team or ourselves, myself included. We can run a half-day workshop to basically identify what is the typical use case that can go ahead. We can go ahead, you can start your experimentation. We do have data science elite team, which does 4 to 6 weeks of engagements with our customers, which is basically co-create, co-invent solutions based on your business problems, your business challenges that you do. There is a link in this which basically also gives you access to this software part that we talked about, all the functionality field that we talked about, ability to connect, organize, or analyze and infuse, all that functionality can basically be accessed. You just need to create your user ID and you will have access to it. Typically, we give people about 7 days access, and if you need further, you can request for extension, and that should be fine. We also basically do provide customers with 1 or 2 days learning events through our global elite team, which basically can talk about the data science aspects and various things that we do. And our services basically help customers to basically move from garage to basically a well-established garage to factory, we call it, and garage sessions, where we take it from a workshop on ideation all the way through an MVP. Our services team can basically provide that capability, which is basically working with you to take your ideas or give you ideas and how you take that ideas to create a most viable product and basically get that executed as either take it out from MVP to a production environment. So there are various ways that we at IBM can help you. There are various use cases that our team has done earlier, so we can also bring that up. Everything that Karen talked about with respect to the Cloud Pak for Data software is all available on Cloud Pak for Data systems, making it easier for you to basically embark on that journey. And me and Karan and other part of people of the team are basically, even though we are regional folks, but we are basically available in Indonesia as and when you want it. So if you have any questions, I'll take it from here. If not, then I think I'm just on time, right? So I'll finish the session. But if there are questions, I'll take it up.
It was said that the virtual data code was the fresh copy of the data source. Like let's say it's Oracle, then it's the copy of Oracle. Then if it comes to the case when we have to analyze the data for real time, how will it handle? when it
Okay,
is recovered.
so VDP solution that my previous speaker talked about is a completely different thing for testing and basically doing a replication of their environment. When it comes to real time, I think Karan did mention that one of the components within the software was streams, IBM streams. And somewhat later, we also have solution based on Kafka streams. So basically, we do have a way to capture data and events. So IBM streams provide you the capability of doing analytics as the data is moving through the pipeline. Now, you need to basically give us access to the system from where I can capture that information as the data is being generated. I can invoke a model straight away and basically take the output. I can provide it to other applications if you want it. So there is a way how to handle that in real time data. And for one of the customers I have done personally, where we have taken credit card data when the customer is swiping the card at the airport and provided him a insurance, travel insurance on the fly. So the idea is, the difficult part is not what we'll do, the difficult part is which application, which servers that are using granting access so that I can capture the real value.
One small, sorry. Is there any, it was shown before that the system can use or certain some fields of AI to analyze the data that's already better. Is there also deep learning technique, because it requires certain hardware requirements like CPU, like.
Okay, so this hardware solution that I talked about has also got FPGAs, which is basically faster than GPUs that we talk about. Okay, so when we talk about deep learning, because that requires either access to GPUs or basically we can use the FPGA basically to accelerate those as well. So we have taken care that how to accelerate deep learning models, because they will use extensively GPUs, or in our case we use FPGA basically. And if people are aware, some people would have heard the Netezza as the analytics appliance. We would basically have that available on Cloud Pack for data as IBM performance server using the FPGA technology that we talked about, giving you the same kind of performance throughput, compression throughput, and addressing the advanced analytic capabilities as well. Any more questions? Otherwise, you have been a tremendous audience. We really thank you for supporting this and coming to the event. Please feel free to ask any one of our colleagues on anything that you basically would have missed here or you want to clarify. We would be available here. And basically, as I mentioned, some of the presentations have the locations where you can find some more information as well. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you everyone, but our session has not finished yet, so I would like to invite all of you to have coffee break at our solution showcase area, and then we have a wrap up session together at the main tent. See you.
Yeah, thank you.